Are we?
The recording has started.
Okay. Welcome to the October meeting of the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Waste Management District. We're starting the meeting at 5:33 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order, and I think, Pete, you have an introduction of our newest board member, Mr. Braisley, correct?
That is correct. Let me pull up my presentation. And can everyone see my screen?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so want to give a welcome to our new District A representative, Carl Braisley. As you can see on the screen, this is a short bio, pretty impressive bio, I should say. Former professional football player in the NFL and the CFL, was a former owner of a successful engineering firm. I think a former publicist and marketer for professional athletes. Graduate of Western Kentucky University and degree of marketing communications, and the University of Miami with an executive MBA. There's a whole lot of other stuff down here. So, Carl, do you want to add or say anything?
Just glad to be here. As I stated earlier, super interested, but right now I got my training wheels on, so I think I'm just listen and learn.
Well, welcome, Mr. Braisley. Glad to have you aboard.
Glad to be here.
Should we do a round of introductions of the other board members and staff?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm Robert Schindler. I'm the chairman of the board. My past experience was director of the solid waste management department for City of Louisville and Louisville Metro prior to my retirement back in 2006. I've been on the board this is my second term.
Okay. That's right.
Detroit. I'm Detroit. I work for the Louisville Urban League as a county assistant. I've been on the board for about a year now, 4 years. Glad to have you aboard.
Mary Rose?
Represents the 80 small cities in Jefferson County. I'm a former mayor and now commissioner of the city of Parkway Village, and just basically a community activist. Welcome.
Deborah Thompson?
Yes, my name is Deb Thompson. I've been on the board. I think this is now my third term, so going into this year. My prior, I'm retired now, but my prior experience was in finance. So I think I've had training wheels on for a lot of the time here, and I can completely empathize, but we'll try to help you as best we can to get up to speed. Thank you and welcome on the board.
Thank you.
My name is Pete Flood. I work a whole lot with the staff here. I'm also compliance and enforcement manager for the Department of Public Works. Karen?
Hi, I'm Karen Maynard, and I'm the public education supervisor for the Public Works, Solid Waste, and the Waste District.
Amy and Whitney? Okay. Would anybody else want to be recognized?
Carl, my name is Peter Irvin. I'm with the County Attorney's Office, and I serve as counsel to the board. Nice to meet you.
Same here. Thank you.
Sorry, Peter. Missed you there. Okay. Mr. Schindler, I think we're ready to go.
Okay, the first item of business is, as usual, the approval of minutes for the August 26th, 2020 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? And does anybody have any changes or revisions to the minutes that they'd like to suggest?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
A second, Petra.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the August minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All those opposed? Okay, hearing none, the meetings are approved. The minutes are approved. We have a letter, I think that Pete shared with board members, but we just like to put it up on the board and see if anybody has any questions or comments. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. Pete, do you have any comments or?
Well, this was a letter that I guess it's a full report of what happened at TARC. The mayor sent this to all the boards and commissions as I guess hey, take a look at this and kind of learn from the lessons. And there is a link in the actual letter that you can go to. It's actually on this screen if anybody wants that. And if you don't have the actual link, just shoot me an email and I can get that to you. I think it's a good read, and we can all do well by paying attention to the lessons there.
Nobody has any comments. We'll move on to the budget report.
The budget report this month comes from the beginning of the fiscal year, I believe, and currently we are running about even with $310,000 of incoming revenue and with $286,000 in expenses. I would say that the revenue is running a little bit late. We get our revenue in starts and stops because we get a lot of our revenue based upon quarterly receipts. So, we can go from 1 month with nothing and then a big jump. So right now we're waiting on a few of them. So we're running about even. There are a lot of smaller expenses. I can get into those. I believe that line expenses was sent in a report to all the board members. If there's any questions about those, I can pull those up on the screen if the board wants me to.
Does any board members have any specific inquiries about those more detailed budget report that was sent out in the with the minutes and everything else? Do you have, I could just ask the question here, what's the status of the front-loading truck?
We still haven't received delivery of that. There was a question about it today, and what I can tell you is that there seems to be a pretty big delay in a lot of manufacturing right now. At least that is from our fleet department. I know even our lift that we've been looking to get, we're not going to get that until February. And that's a fairly small item. So what we're hearing is a lot of COVID related delays.
Okay. We have we have one action item tonight, reappointment of advisory committee members.
Yes, I've spoken with all of the previous advisory committee members. There's 2 that terms had not expired, but what you have on the screen is all the individuals who have agreed to continue to serve the community. And I would ask the board confirm each one of these or all at once.
Do any board members have any questions about any of these people that are on here? I think they're pretty much everybody's been on there before, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I would just like, is there some way that we can get a copy of this that's not just on this screen can we get a copy of the advisory board members sent to us?
Yes, we can. And once we have this, it will be on the website, updated on our website as well.
Okay, thank you.
Just one quick question. I'm a little curious. I guess some is the term for 2 years, but some have a 1-year term or 1 year left? Or is it some are 2-year terms, some are 1 year term, some are unlimited?
The reason that we've split the terms is for continuity, just in case there is some turnover. We don't want everybody to expire at the same time. Other ones are appointments that are kind of from like government entities. You got the Jefferson County League of Cities and from Metro Government, Julie Donna and Sandra Leonard. And, you know, I don't know that we have to really put a term on those appointments.
Okay. Just curious. Thank you.
Sure. You know, the one thing that I would add is if you note, and Carl, this is maybe something to keep in mind, is this advisory committee works at the behest of the 109 board. And it's made up of a cross-section of industry, and solid waste industry, environmental groups, and citizens and government entities. And that is balanced. And it's that way on purpose so that we can hear all sides.
Yeah, I was going to ask the question about, or the people on there, because of positions. So I noticed the different positions of citizen or material recovery facilities, and what. So it is structured to be balanced the way it is.
Yes, sir. We don't want to give any leaning towards industry or towards environmental groups, and we just want a balanced discussion. And I think that when you do that, you get the best outcome.
Typically, what we assign to the advisory committee is any technical work that needs to be done prior to the board taking action. For instance, the advisory committee would examine any proposed changes to ordinances, proposed changes to regulations, stuff like that. They will hash it out from hopefully from all aspects, the environmental, citizens, and industry that might be affected, bring back a recommendation to the board, and the board will either accept it and act on it or send it back for more work or such as that. But the advisory committee is specifically designed to have people that have some expertise from the areas that may be affected by anything we do, and to try to give advice and technical advice so that the board doesn't have to spend a whole lot of time with extra meetings trying to dig through all this stuff.
So would that be a group that I would also, if I had questions about how things are, would this be the group I would refer to?
You're anybody. The advisory committee meetings are public meetings.
Okay.
And they're held on a regular basis, and anybody's welcome to attend them.
Okay.
You will receive an invite to that. Board members receive invites to all the other committee meetings as a courtesy, and they're welcome to attend any of them.
Can I have a motion to appoint these people to the advisory committee?
I'll make a motion to appoint these people to the advisory committee and thank them for their
Okay. Mary Rose moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Was that Deborah?
Deborah, yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Mary Rose moved. Deborah seconded. We have a motion to approve these advisory committee members. Will anybody signify by saying aye?
Aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, nay. Hearing no votes, the advisory committee is reappointed. Thank you all very much. There is no advisory committee. Well, excuse me, I skipped over new business with the waste tire collection.
Yes, there is an event that is done every 3 years. And this one I mentioned at the beginning of our budget cycle because this was potentially an expense that the board can come across. I want to tell you a little bit about this event and why it's so important and where it comes from. So, as I said, it's conducted every 3 years across the state in a rotation basis. And the program is supported by the Waste Tire Fund, which is when you go to buy new tires, there's a $2 fee, and that retailer has to send almost all of that to the state, and with the purpose of reducing waste tire piles and the hazards associated with them. This event is always open to all residents of Kentucky except for tire retailers, scrap yards, and salvage yards. Why has the state created this? Is because fire hazards are probably one of the biggest issues, but with West Nile and the health effects of mosquitoes, it seems like those things are increasing as well. So this is an image of a tire pile fire. I'm not real sure where this one is, but you don't have to go too far. If anybody remembers the fire in 2015 in Southwest Louisville, this was also at a tire pile close to CEMEX. It was a large fire, very difficult to put out. You can't put it out with water, although they try to keep exposures down. You have to smother these kind of fires, and they'll burn that way for a long time. The smoke that it puts out is toxic, and it causes a lot of issue with runoff because it's an oil-based product. Now, if anybody remembers, we have Mix Avenue, which is a location off of South 7th Street near Hill Street. And we've had this facility under violation for quite some time. These are some of the images there. And you can see that this place sits right next to places with the University of Louisville dorms. So it's in a really bad spot. We don't want it there. Fortunately, we're going to be able to utilize this event to clear out this location. So they'll be accepting tires on or off the rim, truck, light truck, passenger tires, implement, lawn tractors, motorcycles, etc. What we expect is about 50,000 tires over a 3-day period. The collected tires will be used for what's called crumb rubber, and that is for playgrounds, sports tracks, sport fields, the little bitty rubber beads. Some of it could also be used for fuel for CEMEX. So the dates of this event is going to be Thursday, November 5, Friday, November 6, Saturday, November 7th. And it'll be located across from the Fair and Exposition Center at 1030 Phillips Lane. Advertising has already started. We have that out in the works week. We've got it out in social media, and we're counting on you guys to help get that word out. And the program is sponsored by the Kentucky Division of Waste Management, who manages the Waste Tire Fund, Metro Government, and the Waste Management District Board. So it's an important event, and we do have COVID policies. And I will tell you that due to the COVID policies, we're not able to use inmates like we have in the past. So we're going to have to use Metro staff, which will cost us a little bit of money. But attendees will have to remain in their vehicle, and our crews will have to handle it. We'll work with 6 feet social distancing. Our mask will have to be worn by all of our people, and health assessments would be done for all our people like they do every day. So what we anticipate is that the cost of labor for this event will probably be less than $25,000, but I'm kind of interested, would like to see that if we can have an approval to spend up to $25,000 on labor so that we can conduct this event. If there's any questions about the event, I will be happy to answer those.
What will the labor be doing, Pete?
Excuse me?
What will the labor be doing? Will they just be loading tires on the trucks or something, or just
No.
loading? Or
They will be unloading. There is the state pays for the contractor who brings in equipment to load tractor trailers as they're unloaded. So it's really, it's a work in conjunction with the contractor. We just have to be able to get them off of the trucks. They'll come in, people will bring these in semi trucks. They'll bring them in pickup trucks. They'll bring them with trailers. They'll bring them in cars. So we just have to have somebody there to unload them and separate them into passenger tires, semi tires, and tires with rims.
okay.
Bonnie John with Douglas Hills. I got a question about the crumb rubber. Have they changed the formula now? Wasn't it a long time ago they tried it on playgrounds and it was toxic or something? So are they still doing the same kind of process with crumb rubber, or do you remember that a while ago that they were going to do it for playgrounds and then they didn't? And so
I think that's a really good question. I'm
As I
sorry.
recall, the problem they ran into that was some kids would have a latex allergy. And that was the problem with it that they had run into with crumb rubber was there's enough of that ingredient that's in latex that's also in tires, and it could affect children with a latex or anybody with a latex allergy.
But there,
Robert, that's really interesting because I know a lot of cities started to buy that and then we kind of pulled away from it because they were having those issues. So it was the latex. That's interesting. Thank you for answering that.
and I think it was more than latex. I think there were some carcinogens that were found in it, and so they couldn't use it in California. And then people started being afraid of it because of the carcinogens that were possibly in it. We had just gotten our playground completed with crumb rubber when all of that came about. We made the decision based on our insurance company's liability issues and our attorney's advice to go ahead and keep the crumb rubber that we had bought. So I think that it might have been may out to be a bigger issue than it really was.
I believe that is the case, Mary Rose. What I'll do is I'll go back and look and inquire with the state as to the status of that, and if those studies panned out that there was the actual issue, or whether it really didn't. The early studies were not correct. So we'll find out and let people know.
It popped in my head about crumb rubber, and we were interested maybe someday in maybe using it again if it was a safe thing. And I would want to ask the experts like you guys that have dealt with it before whether it was. So thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments, board members or audience members? Pete, if I remember when I was talking with you a little bit before, you think most of the overtime that we may have to cover would be on the Saturday collection?
That's correct. We're lucky. We tried to get temporary, but as it turns out, our bulk waste division will be free that Thursday and Friday. So we'll be able to utilize them on normal time, not having overtime. But on that Saturday is when we would have the issue for the overtime. And what we're going to do is those first 2 days, we're going to have a better gauge of how many people that we need. And we'll adjust to however many we need for that Saturday, because we don't want a bunch of people standing around. We want to keep people busy. So we're going to do our best to keep as much cost down as we can on the labor. But that's really for the event and having to do this labor. This event is so important for the community. And people have already paid into this waste tire fund. Without the staff, we wouldn't be able to do it. So, I'm really hopeful that you guys can approve these funds.
Anybody have any additional questions, comments? Since this involves an expenditure, and what I would suggest, or what I was thinking is this 25,000 investing, it would be a high-end, not to exceed figure, right?
Yes, sir.
You're talking about doing this so that we don't, if we did $10,000, then we'd have to come back at the next board meeting if it went to 12, we'd have to come back at the next board meeting to cover it. So the suggestion is to just do 25,000 as not to exceed figure. And that should cover the labor and not require us to have another meeting or a follow-up appropriation.
I think this is a.
Chairman Schindler.
Oh,
Excuse me, Chairman Schindler. This is Bruce Morrow. I was curious, the Mix Avenue tire aisle, are they going to pay for any of that? Or are you going to put a lien against that area because we're cleaning up their mess?
There is and I was going to discuss this a little bit in the enforcement section, but the operator of the site is currently under citation and has been for quite some time. They're having to pay for the transportation to get them to the event. And we're doing that just because this is a community issue and a large community hazard. This is not typical. And we still haven't decided how we're going to deal with the citation. I can tell you that it's not likely that this individual will ever be licensed in the solid waste industry in Jefferson County again. But that's still to be decided. So I can't really answer that until we have settled the citation.
Well, we can't really count on Census of the Future to collect our money. We have to go against Census of the Past. And I would be, I guess, remiss in asking you to pursue any options available to charge them for their negligence.
Yes, sir.
Did I understand correctly that they have to deliver the tires
That's
from their
correct.
facility to the collection site?
That's correct. The owner of the property is doing that. So not necessarily the operator that is doing it. It's the owner of the property that is moving those tires off. So they're contracting with a local hauler to get those over there.
So the owner of the property is not responsible for the accumulation of tires. There was somebody that was an operator on the property?
Is an operator on the property.
That's fairly similar to the problem that occurred back in the 80s. The city leased some property to an operator to do a tire recycling project. And that operator got in over his head, basically went belly up. The city was stuck with the tires on the property, and then they caught fire.
Yeah.
Pete, I have a question. I was wondering, would it be of any interest or any benefit if we could find local groups to provide the service to or the labor to unload and load the trucks? And we did a something similar a while back, but we put out a message through the faith-based organizations And we said for anybody, any church or whatever that would send their group of men came over, that we would pay them X amount. It would be maybe like $200 and they could use it for whatever they want. And then we got a bunch of people to join because it was down a giving back. It was a help way they could earn money and then kind of do things together. But, you know, in the day and age of COVID, I don't know if, but that could be a positive, bring positive exposure to what we're doing, the cleanup, and could be a way that, you know, faith-based opportunities could earn money for ministries or do whatever they want. But it's just a thought that how to use since there's going to be an expense or budget for it, maybe instead of just paying, I don't know enough about how, you know, what's going to happen, but maybe there's a way we could get some added exposure. And because then, you know, we could get on social media and I could, you know, we could contact various different organizations, and that would probably get out pretty quickly. If folks wanted to come by for a church, they could contact us. And I don't know about the time frame now, it's pretty short, but something like that. So I was just kind of tossing it out there.
I think it's a valid question, and one that we would have to go through our HR department to be able to do that. And of course, any insurance that we would have to have. I think we typically already carry insurance for inmates to do, and of course our staff to do. I think it's a good idea. I think we're kind of behind the eight ball, but you know, it's an opportunity that maybe we have for other things. So it's definitely something to look at, I believe. And
Okay.
you know, the work that's going to have to be done here, I can tell you, it is some of the worst of the worst. It is. It's a little bit dangerous, toppling over large things of semi-tires. Tires go rolling. The water that you know has been sitting in these tires, the mosquitoes, the wire that's exposed on some of these tires. It's a little bit of a dangerous situation to work in. So it'd be hard to get that done in such a short amount of time.
Pete, I would think that the same COVID cautions that we have to take with the inmates would be the same that we would have to take with volunteers. That's why staff is better, because we have more control about COVID exposure with the staff.
Yeah, we're in different times, obviously. But you know, anybody that was going to work it, and you know, we're not the only ones out in the state that's doing this. That's why the state brings their testing, you know, the monitoring stuff for temperatures, and they do a health assessment of everybody beforehand. I don't know if that's where you were getting to, but we do feel like we have a good system in place with our current staff of monitoring.
Pete, there's a question in the chat. Will you take cut tires or only whole tires?
We will take cut tires, but we need to know a little bit more. So if that person can contact afterwards, that would be fine. Get a little more information. And to anybody else, this is open to businesses, and it's open to local government as well. So if there's an organization, a city, a public works department, a trucking company, over the road trucking company that has these buildups of tires, this is the event for them. So you know, anybody that wants to do something like that can come. If they have a lot, they can contact us.
I'm assuming, Pete, this, as this has been done in the past, the State Division of Waste Management has actually hired the contractor
Yes,
to
sir.
do the work.
Yes, sir. Yes, they have. Liberty Tires, who is the vendor.
They're a Kentucky firm, aren't they?
That's correct. They operate out of, I can't remember the name of the county, but you know, they do it all over the state. I can't remember what county they're in.
Yeah. Are there any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I think this is a very important project. It's one of the things I think that the Solid Waste Management District is made for, And I would like to make a motion that we spend not to exceed $25,000 for hiring Metro labor to do our part of the tire take back.
Okay, thank you, Mary Rose. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second Deetra.
Have a motion by Mary Rose, a second by Deetra. Is there any additional comments? Discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of appropriating $25,000 or not to exceed $25,000 for this tire collection event signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, no. Hearing none, that is approved. We thank you all very much. I think this is a very important program. It does. Pete, just out of curiosity, you know, right off the top of your head, how many tires we got out of Jefferson County the last time this came through?
A very small amount. We only got about 20,000 tires at the last event 3 years ago. There was I guess the education or the public announcement of this excluded businesses, and it was too late, but we realized the issue. So we're getting the word out a little bit better, but anybody that is out there, please put it in any newsletters or groups that you belong to. You can, I think Karen actually has this up on the website for us. So if you want a link to it, you can get that through Karen.
All right, because if my memory serves me in the past, we've had stuff in the neighborhood of 200,000-300,000 tires out of this program, out of this county, right?
I don't remember one that big. I think the one previous was in the 50,000 tires range. I don't recall one being that big.
I'm going back into the early 80s when this thing first started. Of course, I think that's one good sign is that we're getting less tires. So that means there are hopefully less waste tires floating around out there in the community.
I would agree. I think that there's been a couple things. This has made a really big impact on waste tire piles across the state. And I think that the state would tell you that. And number two, the fact that we have CEMEX that kind of, they need these tires as fuel for their cement kiln. And they're using up, I think it's a little over 3 million tires a year in their cement kiln. So I think both of those things kind of have made an impact on waste tire piles. Good thing.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Bob, can I suggest,
Sorry.
Karen, have we told all the Metro Council people about putting this in their newsletters?
The information went out in the Works Week just this afternoon, and that's usually like the first thing. So most of them copy and paste things from that. So, and Diane and I subscribe to all of their newsletters, so we always watch to make sure they're getting things in. But you're right. I'll make a note that Sal, our communications guy, sends a special email specifically about that because it's important to get it out.
Maybe through Mary Rose or Pete, if you could send it to me, I'll make sure that Jefferson County Legacies, all the mayors and all those folks have it, so that that's 80 folks we can get it to immediately. If you'll just make sure you send it to us, we'll get it to them. Thanks for doing that. That's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. No advisory committee report. Staff report.
If everybody remembers, we did an agreement with Metro government, the board did, in that the district would pay for the front loader and Metro government would run events, collection events throughout the county, 9 of them per year. Well, we've conducted 2 so far, and we want to kind of give you a little bit of the results and what we've learned and where we're going next. So the first one was at Sun Valley Park, which is on Lower River Road. And it was a pretty big success. We had 442 participants. You can see the different items that were dropped off and separated, and as much of it recycled as we could. We think that the diversion rate on that event was 35%, which, you know, when we did this waste study, it was shown that self-haul material only had a 7% diversion rate. So we're doing way better than that. And it's a huge event, and people really like it. Still had 53,000 pounds of junk, but you know, we want that junk pile to get smaller and the other piles of recovered material to get bigger. You can see some of the images from the event and the people coming through, dropping off, people dropping off and things getting loaded. You can see the pile that was moved. Everything is done that day. By the time that the crews leave, the parking lot is spotless. They bring street sweepers in and sweep up everything. So the parking lot is immaculate, probably in better shape than when we got there. Some of the things that you can see in there is pallets. Those are things that we know can actually go in with yard waste as long as they're not painted or they're not treated wood. We can get that. So we talked a little bit about that. Some of the things that we needed to do, we needed better signage. We realized that we didn't get zip codes, you know, so we was going to do that. We had our vendors that kind of arrived a little bit late, which is not, it's never a good thing. We needed to do better on educating people to separate their loads before they came. And we need to get our outreach material out there in Spanish. So we took all that in. We created the signage, and we've color coded it. And we color coded it with all of our material that, you know, when we put it out, so you can see that brown is yard waste. So when you look at it on your pamphlet, you will identify it when the sign is there in the, you know, when people are dropping off. So this is one of the flyers. It's translated. So the second event, oh, well, this was another action step. We needed to do better at the entrance to let people know that this was the entrance for the event. So these signs were created. So the second event, taking those learnings, was at Metro Fleet Services at 3515 Newburgh Road on October 24th. This event actually didn't get as many people, 330, but we can continue to build. We did a little bit better with a 43% diversion rate, and we did a little bit better at measuring some of the material to estimate that diversion rate. And it was a good event. And some of the images you see, this is where actually before the event, but people coming and dropping off, you can see the bulky waste sign that we're using. This is the document shredding area. These are the different signages that we made, and of course the pop-up drop-off flag at the entrance so that people can quickly identify it. We're hoping that once we've done these for a while, this pop-up drop-off, I guess, kind of branding will be something that people recognize with this event. And of course, our action steps after that is make sure that we're getting the word out, share our success with people, generate some chatter, get a little bit better at explaining the goal of separating and recovering as much as possible, and get out there and continue to promote the event and really emphasize that material separation when we promote the event. The next event is Saturday, November 21st, 2020. This one's going to be at the University of Louisville Shelby campus, which is at 440 North Whittington Parkway. there is a link there, but we'll be trying to get that out, and possibly we can send, it'll go out to Works Week, but taking what we talked about with the waste tire thing, I think we can get more information out there so that this event can continue to grow. This, I think, would be the last event for this year, and next year we would pick up early to start these events, and it's going to continue to roll so that we have 9 events next year. So if anybody has any questions, be more than happy to answer them. This is the result of the agreement with this Waste Management District Board and Metro Government. So it really is going to be a really good event going forward.
Any questions, comments? Okay. I think this is a really good idea, and I think it's probably the way staff came up with this. It's a lot more convenient. As you all, probably some of you all realize, in the past, this was done at the waste management landfill. So it was, it was a central location, but it was a distance for some people to travel. But I think this operation here is much more convenient for the citizens because we're moving it around the county, and probably should improve participation in the long run.
I agree. What I would say is in just 2 events, we've already surpassed or close to what the last event at the landfill did. So doing 9 of these a year, this is going to definitely touch more people.
Okay. Next item on the staff reports, the education team report. I assume Karen's doing that.
Yep. Did somebody have a question?
I was just going to say that I really appreciate your all's observing things that could be improved and improving them. That was very impressive, that the list and what you've done. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we've been really busy, obviously, with the events and stuff that education has been a big part of. So I just have a couple things to share. We are going to do another webinar series. I think I spoke about this in August, probably. We had a series that went July, August, and these I had my first one last week, and I repeated how to recycle right. We had about 63, I think, people registered for that. Not as many attended, but it's recorded, so we always share that and post it. And then tomorrow I'll be doing one about love them and leave them as a way to handle yard waste at home. And there's been a lot of things out recently about leaving, not raking leaves and mulching them back into the lawn and things like that. So I'll talk about that, but also some other ways to handle yard waste at home. And then the next Thursday, we're actually having our Public Works communication specialist is Sal Melendez, and he is going to do our one about trash and recycling for our Spanish community. So like with the signs and the flyers and things, we're really trying to be more proactive when it comes to sharing, to sharing the information to our Spanish-speaking community. So Sal's going to do, I gave him a PowerPoint and notes, and he's going to present that in Spanish. So if you have any contact with any Spanish-speaking communities or families or anything, feel free to share that one. The Office of Globalization is going to share it in their newsletter tomorrow. And then a couple more about reuse and food waste reduction just in time for Thanksgiving. So anyway, Pete, you can move on to the next slide. Our No Waste Ambassador program, we're still in planning mode. I do really want to do an informational meeting in early December before Christmas time hits. And then my goal is to do the program probably maybe four sessions in the evening from January to February. And then hopefully in the spring, we'll be doing tours to our facilities like West Rock and Smith Creek. And of course, that's going to be all dependent on COVID and how we decide to do that. So hopefully it won't just have to be virtual, because as you all know, those tours are really beneficial for understanding waste-related processes. So that's all I have. I'm happy to answer questions, though.
How many, you had said you had 60 registered. How many people showed up to that?
I just had about 25 on the call, I think. And so you just never know who's actually gonna, show up for it. But like I said, I always record them, and sometimes people even ask afterward, hey, I missed it. Can I get the link to the recording? But all of those are on that Waste District website on the webinar page. The old ones from the summer are as well. And I've kind of sprinkled them around the website, the louisvilleky.gov website, also in places where it is pertaining to the subject of the web page. I just kind of put in the YouTube link.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions or comments of Karen? Okay, thank you, Karen. Enforcement licensing? Yes,
I do want to comment about our education team, Karen, Diane Moon, and Jessica Turner. Without that team right there, they have done so much to bring these events to life, doing a lot of the background work. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate them and the job that they do, and couldn't do it without you guys.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay, enforcement and licensing report. As everyone knows, we, the Waste District, got a illegal open dump grant and actually put money towards a cleanup down on Garland Avenue of a site that had been problems for probably a decade. The cleanup was close to 600,000, but it's been cleaned up. The property was put out for foreclosure. It foreclosed on July 23rd at the commissioner's sale, and right now we're waiting on a distribution of funds order to see what goes. Now, the first order of business there for any funds that were recovered would go to the back taxes, and there are a lot of them. So I'm not sure how much of that is, going to go to the second one, which is government liens, which we have a lien against the property based upon the cleanup and the enforcement action back then. So we don't know. They told us that it usually takes about 3 to 4 months to get that distribution of funds order. So once we have that, we'll see if we can recover any of those funds. The other one was at 632 Mix Avenue, the waste tire property. The property is being pending a sale. Determining the next actions against the operator with the citation, and of course, using the waste tire collection event to remove the tires and the hazards to the area. The Metro Council actually paid, I think it was $50,000 for additional illegal dumping surveillance cameras. Those cameras have not been purchased quite yet because we're having to go through a sole source process. We have cameras now. We don't want to change the type of cameras by going out to bid. I think that these cameras are the best cameras anyway. So we still haven't gotten those cameras, but as I said earlier, we haven't gotten our lift, and our bucket truck has been taken out of service. Now, in the last day or so, we were able to obtain a bucket truck from the Parks Department. And so we're going to be back in business in doing our illegal dumping surveillance camera program. Also, we are hiring 2 officers to replace transition of the officers that we had into other roles. And those will be doing litter abatement. One of the officers will end up going for a position that was paid through Metro government to maintain surveillance cameras. So one of our officers will be shifting into that role as well. So we continue to grow that enforcement unit and the surveillance program, and to try to prevent and stop illegal dumping. Any questions on the enforcement and licensing report? I'm happy to answer.
I guess this is related. What kind of experience have we been having lately with catching illegal dumpers with the cameras?
Well, as I said, our bucket truck has been down. We've had a lot of cameras up for quite some time. Some of those, probably the battery pack has run down. And we typically had been borrowing one from Signs and Markings, but their truck was not the trucks, and it went into the shop. And those we had the oldest, they had the second oldest in the fleet. So we would typically run to electrical maintenance to borrow theirs, but they had 2 trucks down as well. So these bucket trucks are very particular. You have to inspect them every time that you use them. If there's one item that's out, it has to go to the shop. The one that we had, they didn't even make parts for it anymore. So we're back in business, and we hope to start going. Now, we have impounded a few. I think we've impounded 6 this year. Some of those were based upon citizens who caught it, or businesses that caught it on their home surveillance or the business surveillance cameras. We just got one at the DAV on Berry Boulevard. A guy he ran a fruit stand, and he just brought all of his fruit there and multiple times and dumped it in the middle of the parking lot. But they did catch them, and we caught them, and we was able to impound it. The DAV, since this COVID, has just been getting nailed by illegal dumping. So it's been a problem, but we should be getting our cameras back up and going here in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we can improve upon the number of people we're catching.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Pete, what did the Garland Avenue property bring at auction?
To be honest with you, the person that I talked with, Tia, she didn't know that answer. I don't know. I know that there's about $200,000 in back taxes that are owed. I just have a feeling that we probably didn't get that much money out of that property. It's 5 acres, and it's in an industrial area. It just depends upon who purchased it. I just don't know. Hopefully soon.
Okay. Anything else on your enforcement licensing report?
No, sir.
Okay. Your next item up is recycling centers and the has-been.
Yes, sir. As you know, we asked for and received funding to do some renovation work at the Hubbard's Lane Recycling Center. We have gotten started, as you can see with the image there. The site's going to be closed for 2 weeks. Should be open, I think, on the 9th, if I'm not mistaken. We opened up a temporary site right outside of the gate. The only thing that we won't collect out there is used motor oil, antifreeze, and cooking oil, because it's not secure at night out there. So we're still working, and we just can't take some things. So When Hall began the work and they started pulling up the old concrete, we discovered a couple things. Number one, an old foundation. And that caused us to do a little shift of the size of the concrete pad. So while it got just like a foot or two narrower, it ended up getting about 6 or 7 foot, 8 foot longer, which actually is an advantage. So that wasn't the problem. The second part that we found was that there wasn't a sub base, and we expected to find that. So for us to pour concrete, we'd have been pouring it on dirt, which is never a good thing and would lead to early breakup. And that's probably why the concrete that was there broke up. So we needed to add a sub base, which we were able to use Metro government millings that's actually on the site. But we had to pay a little bit more, which was $3,979. We had to make a snap decision so that we didn't slow the progress until the board meeting. But I hope that you guys can understand the need to make a decision and move forward. But the work is going and they're moving fast, and hopefully we'll be open before that 2 weeks is up. Any questions on the Hubbard's Lane renovation?
Have you noticed any decrease in the usage of the site since it's temporarily out front?
I know that Saturday we had a whole lot. I don't know if it's a result of, I can't place any significance to the number of people that we have. I do know that Oldham County has not been operating, and we've been getting more vehicles from Oldham County. I know that in southern Indiana, they're not, some of their centers aren't open over there. So we picked up quite a bit of vehicles. I think it was like 140 vehicles on Saturday, which is, it's definitely up. Whether, I have no idea what the reason is for that.
All right. Any additional questions, comments? Okay. Next.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
Did you need a motion to approve that $3,000 whatever dollars it was, or?
I believe it's under the point in our MOA where it requires a board approval, but if the board would like to make that motion and approve it, that would be fine.
What do you think, Mr. Chairman?
Well, based on the operating procedures we've used in the past, and that MOA that we signed with the solid waste department, it doesn't require any action on our part.
Cool. He had said he needed more money, and I didn't know if we needed to approve it. So, thank you.
Thanks for catching it, though.
The next item is the has-been, and we've been trying to do some upgrades on the property that it's been there for quite some time. We did a major, we're working with our contractor there, Veolia, who owns the site, to get a lot of old overgrowth taken care of in the rear of the property, which has been done. There's a fence that is borders with waste management, the waste hauling. They've accidentally backed into that fence and knocked it off kilter. So we've asked them to get that fence repaired. About a month ago, there was also someone that tried to drive underneath of the overhang with a vehicle that was too tall. So there's damage to that overhang, and it's just waiting for the approval and for them to get started to repair that. We've added signage, which was a big thing, and we've asked that a large pothole at the entrance also be filled, which they're going to get that taken care of. one thing that I will add that's of note at the has-been was that there was a quart jar of what's called picric acid that was found on the site. By all measures, it looks like it's been there for quite some time. And it is one of those materials that is shock sensitive and friction sensitive. So if someone was to disturb it, it's only in a quart jar, but it could potentially detonate. So at a certain point, we're hoping to do it on a Monday. We're going to have a basically people in bomb suits and special equipment to go in there and get that material with a remote to unscrew the lid and dilute it down to 2% to make it safe. If we have to do it during the week, we're going to end up having to close the center while that takes place. But not real sure how it got there or when it got there. It's a material that probably should not have ever been accepted, although it was from a household. I think it was from a chemistry professor or somebody that liked to experiment at home. But this is one of those items that, we really don't need to be accepting. What we did after that was we've tried to update our website to kind of give people a little bit more information on how to handle things like that. And the person that brought it there, I don't know when they brought it there. I guess they are pretty lucky they didn't drop it or try to open it. But these things, it does occur periodically. It's just one of those things that right now it's on that site. It's in a secure location. We've isolated it, and until we can get that proper equipment in there, we're okay to continue to operate. But that's my has-been update.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right. Litter abatement.
I only have a short update on that. What I can say is that the Brightside MOA was approved by Brightside. I think this board approved it. They approved at the last meeting. So that shifted $21,000 towards our personnel. We've had trouble. We still don't have inmates to go out and do the work. We kind of, as I said earlier, we don't have people in our officer positions for the litter abatement grant. So we have a surplus of personnel funds. And for the next, through the rest of the year, we have to utilize our labor to go out on Saturdays on overtime to do litter abatement. We're going to try to do as much as we can in a short amount of time. But if this is one of those, collecting litter is definitely important. But we don't want to give back funds. So it's important for us to get out there and do as much as we can between now and the end of the new year. That's it for that.
I'm assuming that there's no shortage of places that you can assign those crews on the weekends. No, there isn't a shortage. Any additional? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Was somebody getting ready to say something? Any additional comments or questions from the board or audience? Okay, the next item on our business would be for the board to go into executive session to discuss the litigation that we currently are going through between the Jefferson County Waste Management District and Waste Management of Kentucky. I understand, Karen, you have to give us some instructions here on how we can do this.
Yes, I just hit send on an email to the board members so everybody can kind of check and make sure you got it. And there's a link to the executive session, which I'm going to start that meeting I'll pass the host to Bob, and then I'll leave the meeting. And then everyone else can stay on this call if they'd like. And on that same email, there's a link to get back into this meeting to do the official adjournment here.
Include me, Karen.
Peter, I don't think Pete sent me that email, so let me send that to you.
Sorry, Karen. Sorry, Peter. That's twice I forgot about you tonight, Peter.
It's all right.
It's not a good thing.
Just put me in a closet, Pete.
No, it's really hell when you're that important, isn't it? Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
You too.
Bonnie.
Okay, I just sent it, Peter.
Karen, do we need to exit?
Oh, we need, actually, yes, you're right. We do need a motion to go into executive session.
Oh, okay. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Let me pull the agenda back up.
The other meeting is the same time.
Executive session here can be used for any motion.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session? So moved by Mary Rose. Seconded by Deborah. We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Get out of the meeting first and then join the meeting. Quit this meeting first.
Oh, we have a motion and a second. We need to approve the motion. All in favor of the motion to go into executive session by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We will go into executive session. Point of order, Karen. Do I need to get out of this meeting?
I don't think so. I just tried it and I started that meeting and I'm in 2 right now. So I think it's possible to be in 2 meetings.
Okay, so all we have to do is go to our email and join the meeting you just emailed us.
Yes. And
Okay.
Pete, would you like me to pause this recording while the executive session's going on?
Yes, please.
Also, Pete, never mind.
We need to have a motion to come back in session.
Have we started the recording?
Yes, just now.
Okay. Like the motion to come back into general session.
So moved.
Have a second?
Come on, Carl.
Second. I second.
Motion to return to session has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay.
Did we lose?
We are officially back in session.
Did we lose Deethra?
We have lost Deethra. She is sitting in purgatory out there because I can't get her from an attendee to a panelist for some reason.
Do you know if she can hear you?
I do not know that.
She can send a chat. If she can hear us, send a chat.
Okay. If I can get a chat to her. I cannot even do that.
I do know if she has Karen's original email setting this meeting up, she can go to that and get right back in the meeting.
That's how I got.
If we can communicate with her.
Let's see if I can.
I sent her a chat. I did make it work.
You did?
You had to click attendees separate.
I did. I'm just not as good as you.
Karen, did you end the other meeting?
I left the meeting, so I assume that when you all left, I guess it got ended when it
Yeah.
was out.
I'm giving her a call. It may be that she just would say, go ahead and end the meeting. We do still have a quorum, don't we?
We do, I think. Don't we have 7 people on the board?
We do. So we still have
Yeah.
4. So we do have a quorum.
I doubt that she will think it's important to be here for the motion to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we just waiting for Pete to hear back or?
Here he comes.
Okay.
What's going on, Pete?
She's still trying to get on. I was seeing if she would just wanted to not really worry about coming back, but she's still attempting to get on.
I'm in there, but it's not letting me in.
Okay, let me see.
I can hear you. We can hear you.
Can we hear Deetra?
Yes.
Yes.
That should.
We can actually hear you. It's just your video that we can't hear. It's off the phone. I think. Oh, that's not letting me see her.
Yeah, I'm not seeing
Oh.
the
There
DS.
she is. There she is.
She's starting to come up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She's listed in the thing twice, but she's just in once now.
I don't have video, but she's showing up on the bottom bar on the screen.
Yeah.
Deetra? Can you hear us?
Her mic was open for a second.
Yeah, I actually unmuted so that I could talk to her.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't we just go on and adjourn?
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that.
Thank you for calling Louisville Urban League. This is Deidre.
Hey, Deetra. I think it's probably okay if the rest of the committee just go ahead and adjourn. And
I can't hear you. I showed me on the phone, but it's not connected to you.
okay, well, don't worry about it. I think the board's just going to go ahead and adjourn, and there's no other business to be handled. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right.
All
Okay,
right.
thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I
Bye-bye.
do.
We're good to go ahead and adjourn.
All right, I assume next board meeting, we'll just kind of play by ear to see if there is necessary for the board to meet.
Yeah, it would be the 25th, which would be Thanksgiving week. So it might be something to consider, but we'll kind of get together closer to time and see if there's a need for us to meet.
Okay.
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 Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you guys for the first meeting. So this has been cool. So thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Glad to have you.
Hopefully we can meet sometime here in person, but
Yeah, really.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Meet, shake hands, all those.
Yeah, right.
things.
can I have a motion? Somebody made a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Bye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned at 7:37 p.m. and we'll see everybody later. Thank you all very, very much.
Nice meeting everybody. Y'all take care. Have a great night.